First and foremost, I want to say Kahal Emiho, Bashimi Hawashai, Wakadashua Kal, Brakadam, the Bonsa GMS, I want to elect. It's a little brother here, Shemashuwan. I'm just trying to get some decent lighting. Alright, and today I want to go into books that are pointless to look at. Alright, just marking certain books that you shouldn't get, and just in general debunking these books that for the most part are absolute nonsense. There's no knowledge in a lot of these books. Okay? Because a lot of times, it's good to look into certain books. Certain books are viable, right? Like Babylon and Timbuktu. But sometimes you see with Jake, especially Jake, and these other philosophies and doctrines such as the Kemetic, which Chem goes back to Ham, Chem, Com, that's how you say it, right? They'll go into books like this, right? This is the book I'm going into today, the Symposium of Plato, all right? This book was, I believe it was written by Plato. It says Symposium Plato. I don't really care, right? But Plato was a Jake, Socrates was a Jake, and this entire book is essentially a bunch of various philosophers. I'm not sure if they're all Jakes, but it's a bunch of various philosophers getting together at a banquet and discussing love. So absolute waste of time. All right, just a bunch of dudes in bathrobes debating, all right, eating food and getting drunk. And we're gonna read verbatim. I'm not gonna comment. I'm not gonna comment on this, okay? Because I don't want to get the video taken down. It's for edification. But when you read this, all right, we're gonna break it down, okay? This is page 48, Symposium of Plato. I didn't write this. I didn't make this up, okay? I'm only reading it, YouTube. I'm only reading it, all right? Then there is love of the celestial goddess, who does not partake of the female, only of the male. Then she is older and entirely lacks lust. This is what Jaffa was believing in. And Jake was into that nonsense too. But we ain't gonna say much. I believe at this point this was written in 168 BC, and at that point, Esau already overtook Japheth and was still in his bullshit. All right, calling himself the Greeks. All right, men who have been inspired by this love turn to the male, loving what is most vigorous and more intelligent. Anyone would know, even in this matter of love for young boys who are purely involved in this love, they don't desire boys until they are beginning to think, just about the same time that the beard is starting to grow. I believe that people who begin at that point to fall in love are prepared to share their lives completely, even to live together. They are not deceivers who thoughtlessly will take such a boy, all right, but people best in boy, but a boy anyway, a man, another man, okay. Ye are not deceivers who will thoughtlessly take another man, then laugh and turn away to live with another man, okay? We're not, all right, that's all I said. I didn't say nothing. Now, growing up, right, going to Catholic high school, right, we were taught to venerate these kind of books. Now, you remember during the Renaissance, what came back out again? Greco-Roman ideals. What are Greco-Roman ideals? Some of the stuff in this book right here. All right, they even pushed that stuff in school. You know what? I remember taking philosophy class. We learned about Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. Man, I knew more about Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates more than the men of the Lord. Okay? But they never told us about this. They did that shit on purpose. They never brought this out. All right? But they know. They know, especially them Catholic institutions. You know what goes on in there. Do I have to tell you? I believe it's called Crimen Solicitatis. You look that up. I know you learn brothers know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, if I go into it, I'm gonna make this video too long. So we're gonna go to this is Ecclesiastes, not Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12. Furthermore, by these my son be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Come on, that's plain, man. That's plain. It is weariness. This is like my third or fourth take. There's been times and other takes where I was reading that book for like 5 minutes. It's mind-numbing, man. It's mind-numbing. Don't worry about those books. All right, Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit hath gathered them. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. I will say it again. And read. No one of these shall fail. No one shall want her mate, for my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit has gathered them. Come on. Come on, it's all in here, man. This is the only book you need. All you need is the scriptures, which back then it was oral tradition that was turned into a written form. Okay? So you don't need to really delve into these things. Now the elders and the apostles, they own these clown books. There's been times that the elder apostles have gone into the Book of Mormons, gone into the Quran. All right? But we do that. We do that with owning these books, right? The only reason I still own this book and I decided to bring it out is really just to expose the madness of it. All right, so if you're gonna go into these books, expose the madness of it. But you got other guys that will read these books and then take bits and pieces and then try to bring it into the truth and try to say, yes, the love is the impunity and the love between a man and a woman. We must follow the forms of the thing. We cannot follow the actual thing. You know what I'm saying? That's Plato's philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Plato was saying that nonsense, which was a Jake. Absolute nonsense. This is Genesis chapter 12. We're going to prove how the Bible, all right, which back then was just a collection of, ideals, right? This whole philosophy and ideals that we subscribe to, all right, that was made for us, okay, that we were given, only to children of Israel, all right. It predates all other philosophies. So this is Genesis chapter 12, verse 15. All right, so this is talking about Abraham with Sarah, all right? And Abraham was going down to Egypt, and he had a Sarai back then, Shariah, okay? Which I believe her name, when he becomes a Sarah, it turns to Shara. All right, so Sariah, Yah meaning my. So my princess turned into Sarah, Shara, princess. So my princess to princess, because she just became the princess of many nations. Okay, but we're gonna that's another time. I don't want to ramble on. All right, and at this time, Sarai, even though she was a bit older, she was very fair to look upon. So you know what Abram did is very wise. He said, Sarai, don't tell people that you're my wife. Tell them that you're my sister. Okay. All right. So then they won't have Abram killed, because back then, you didn't really have immigrant rights like we, like these Edomites have today, so-called immigrant rights. All right, but they weren't around back then. Okay, back then, if you had a husband, the guys there, they would just kill you and take your wife, and there's nothing you can do about it. So this is Genesis chapter 12, verse 15. The princess also Pharaoh saw her, commanded her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house, and he treated Abraham well for his sake. And he had sheep and oxen and he asses and manservants and maidservants and she asses and camels. And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why sayest thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Okay, where did Pharaoh learn that adultery was wrong? Who taught him about that? Okay, who was given the laws, statutes, and commandments first? The sons of God. Okay, and they spread it all around to all these other nations. These guys, they couldn't follow it anyway. All right, they were made to go off. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that all this, these laws, statutes, and commandments, all right, came to us first. All right, these laws, they predate all things, even Hammurabi's code. People think, Hammurabi's code predates Noah, but when you go back into it, as early as Adam with the I'm not even really gonna bring it out. Adam with the skins, right? That symbolizes his identity. All right. Even Adam back then had laws, statutes, and commandments. Back then, even with the story of Cain and Abel, right? Cain knew he wasn't supposed to bring in fruit unto Yahweh. He was supposed to bring an animal. All right, and I'm not gonna really go into that. I want to kind of make this kind of quick. But we had laws, statutes, and commandments. Our laws, statutes, and commandments are the first ones. All these other stuff came afterwards. All right. Now, there's nothing wrong with going into a book, breaking it down to expose how maddening and foolish it is, right? But this isn't what we should be doing all the time, or trying to pick bits and pieces. This stuff is of men, man. This book was written by men, man. This is nonsense. All right. So, as I said, that's all I got. Just wanted to go into that book, man. I had the Spirit come upon me to go do it. All right, Chris wants to say, "Call on Mihawa by Shimi Shai." Well, Kadash Wakal, bro, Thumb. All right. Shalom to be continued.